Welcome to Martin Monday's Intentional Intimacy, where love, life, and legacy meet in the moments that matter most. Every week, I will share sacred reflections of my 30-year marriage before Martin's passing, as well as our life now without him. May these reflections help us live with more weight, warmth, and wisdom. Martin was a letter carrier by profession, but a life carrier by purpose. So let's take a moment and let intentional intimacy speak. Welcome to this segment of Martin Monday's Intentional Intimacy. We have hit double digits. This is episode 10, and we are going to talk about the magic of love. And so I think for today's segment, I'm going to read from the Intentional Intimacy book itself, the original version. Hint, hint, there might be another one coming out. But I'm going to read the segment because this is always one that kind of gets me or hits me near and dear. So I'm going to read what I wrote, and I'm sure I'll talk a little bit about it above and beyond. But let's read about the magic of love. So, as I had said previously, communication is key in any relationship. And this is especially true when it comes to planning big events like weddings and honeymoons. And so, when Martin and I were planning our wedding, we quickly realized that we were on the same page, pretty much just about everything. We both wanted a small, intimate ceremony with close family and friends, although several hundred people there might not be considered small, followed by a simple reception. And we were in agreement about what kind of food to serve, the type of music we wanted, and even which relatives to invite or perhaps not invite. So in short, it was pretty much a breeze, doing our wedding planning. Now, when it came time for our honeymoon planning, we kind of hit a snag. Now, to put this in context, remember, I was 21 and Martin was 29. My travel experiences have pretty much been limited to going to church convocations in Ohio or West Virginia. But Martin's family was a little more well-traveled. They had visited numerous vacation destinations. So my juvenile heart at 21, I really, really wanted to experience the magic of Disney. I had never been to Disney World, but I was hesitant to mention it to Martin because I thought he might laugh or he might reject the concept. And so he kept asking, where do you want to go? And he suggested a few places, and I would reject each one, not because they were bad ideas. They were some pretty good ideas, but because I really knew deep down what I already wanted. And so Martin finally looked at me and he said, if you tell me where you want to go, I'll make it happen. And so that helped me a lot. That was really what I needed to hear. And that's what encouraged me to finally share where I wanted to go. But I started prefacing my statements with some limiting beliefs. Well, I'm sure you don't want to go here. And you've probably already been here too. And I'm sure this is kind of a silly idea, but until finally Martin said, woman, where do you want to go? And so I was immediately startled because why is he addressing me like that and with this tone? Now, Martin, who at the time I was often calling old man, he had always been calling me kid while we were dating, but now he's calling me something else. Woman. And why? Why is he saying that to me? Is it out of frustration? Or is he now viewing me differently as we're moving toward marriage? Like, what is happening here? So I was caught off guard and I really didn't know how to respond, if I can be honest. So in my head, I scolded Martin for this new way that he was talking to me. But then I realized that Martin was just trying to be open and honest and authentic with me. Those are some of his basic tenets that I so value. And so by sharing where I wanted to go, I was letting him know that I trusted him and that he could navigate this phase in our lives. And so I silenced all the voices and the chaos in my head, and I blurted out, Disney World. Martin reassuringly accepted the suggestion, and he said, let's go. I've never been there. And with that, he had given me his commitment to making the trip happen. I smiled and I shrugged my shoulders and I said, okay. And so we contacted the travel agent and we planned a magical adventure in Disney World. We totally enjoyed ourselves and we acted like kids the entire time as we experienced the magic of love. I'll catch you in the reflections. So, what's the lesson here? The magic of love, a world of magic, wonder, and excitement. It awaits us on the other side of speaking our truth and being our most authentic self. I was so in my head, y'all. I was so in my head with negative thinking of why I couldn't or I shouldn't say or do certain things. And I was blocking myself from what I ultimately wanted. And Martin, he influenced me, even in his frustration, by calling me a woman. That was startling in some sense. One, he had never addressed me or spoken to me in that way. And it represented an observation of how he was viewing me now. And it also became a proclamation to mature to be who I am. Interestingly, though, Martin, he called me woman for the first few years of our marriage. He did. And we used to joke about it because my oldest son, MJ, for the longest time, he actually thought woman was my name. Because that's what he heard his dad refer to me as. So that was kind of funny. So I encourage you, if you get nothing else out of this lesson, I encourage you to silence the limited voices in your head and to present yourself as your most authentic version to others. And as you mature in that for yourself, then reciprocate that maturity in others by calling them as they should be. Martin did that for me. Even if there might be a hint of frustration in the process. So as you learn and as you grow and as you accept yourself, pull that same thing out of others because that becomes the magic of love. Thanks so much for joining. Catch you next time. Martin Mondays continues on Tuesday with the Tuesday Tea. Check it out and join me and take a sip. Hey fam, I just want to share a little small segment here. Many of you have noticed the bracelet on my wrist, and we have an episode that's dedicated to this bracelet that says, Rest in Heaven, Martin Hollis, aka Captain. And it says, may your whole life prove God is good. I wear this bracelet on my wrist. My children and many family and friends wear it as well. And I consider you family and friends. And so it's not just jewelry. It's a reminder. It's a reflection. It's a ribbon of love that I carry from Martin's life into mine. And so many of you have asked about it, and I'd love to be able to share it with you. I do have extras and I have inventory that's available. You know, if something that I've said in Martin Mondays has touched you or touched your heart, I certainly ask for your support to continue this programming and to continue sharing his life and his legacy. And so for anyone that makes a donation into Martin Mondays of $15 or more on my Buy Me a Coffee page, I'll mail you a bracelet. I'd love to be able to send that to you with a personal note as a thank you. So when you do that on my Buy Me a Coffee page, like I said, any donation of $15 or more, I will send you this bracelet. Include your name and your mailing list. I'm sorry, your mailing address. There's a comment section, and you can mark that message as private. We don't want everybody to know your address. So you can mark that message as private, and it will come to me, and then I can mail it out to you so that you can receive and wear this piece of legacy as well. And so you'll find the description or find the QR code below. You'll also find it on the next segment of the video that has my Buy Me a Coffee page. And so I really appreciate you for walking this journey out with me. And thank you. May your whole life prove God is good. You know, Martin used to say a lot of things. Some were funny, some were wise, but one thing he often said was, wow. Wow. Just those 3 letters. It spoke volumes. It meant a lot. When he didn't know what to say, wow. When he was excited about something, wow. When he was confused, perhaps, or even frustrated, he said, wow. And you know, he's still saying wow. Through this bracelet, he's still saying wow, because he's still saying, may your whole life prove that God is good. And so in closing, that's my hope for you this week. May you have wow moments as you too are living out legacy. Live in the wow. Live in the reality of knowing that your whole life is good. Live in the heartbeat of Martin Mondays and intentional intimacy. May that anchor you in this week as you build legacy, one wow, one moment at a time. See you next week.